Alright, war number 2, and this war is going to be a lot smoother than the last war. Last war, as you guys saw, I just wasn't my best with Quake. This war, I get more Quake fights because again they didn't ban her, and I was back to form basically. So, all right, I am on Path 5 in Section 1. I've got those 3 fights, including Jabari. Then I'm taking this rank 4 Mangog on node 26 with my Apocalypse. Very exciting. And then Path 7 in Section 2, I'll be quaking that Penny and that Cersei, and then I get to use my unawakened rank 3 Mr. Fantastic for Man-Thing on node 33. We'll talk about that fight when we get there. And then I've got 2 more Quake fights on Mini Island, Kitty, and I'm pretty sure that's a rank 4 Kitty, and then Hood. And then I'll be using Apocalypse for Mojo. So 10 fights in total, a lot of action, and it just kind of worked out that way with my team and the pass that they had kind of laid out for everybody. So, all right. So the big thing with Mr. Fantastic is you need to select Defiance, and if there's any chance that any of you are watching this video and you're not familiar with Defiance, Defiance is the attacker tactic that really hard counters the current global. The current global is miss-tic dispersion. So basically, anytime your attackers have a buff that ends or expires or is nullified, the defender, if they benefit from the global, they will gain a miss passive for 4 seconds on your next hit, and then after that expires, it'll be on cooldown for 20 seconds, and you can cancel it early by intercepting, so Ghost is good for this global as well. But anyway, so Defiance means that if you have the attacker tactic selected, your attackers cannot gain buffs. Any buff that they would gain is instead a passive, which is really, really nice. So Reed is one of those. And yeah, he's going to be very useful for this global. So, all right, this fight I've got sped up because it's a very long fight, an unbuilt Apocalypse, and you guys have seen me take this fight probably 2 or 3, maybe even 4 times. I know I've taken it a lot. I just can't remember how many times I've been in the season. I think at least twice, and then I've taken it in the off season as well. But we do not have the Bleed Suicide for this fight, and we're not going to be using the Bleed Suicide for any of the Apocalypse fights in this war. A lot of times I will run it just to get the immunity, but that's only if I need Apocalypse for a fight where bleed is, could be a concern, like a Domino, for example. I do have a Jabari Panther, but I mean, I'm gonna have guidance there. I would just have to royally screw that up to bleed out, and I can still gain the immunity during that fight anyway. It's not like I would be instantly bled to death. So, all right, yeah, Strife is a global defender. You can see from that icon there. So you guys will kind of see this in action. Then, Apocalypse is just he's going to enter this fight at 4 genetic codes. He's got 2 genetic code now. He starts a quest with 1. He gains 1 from winning a fight, and then against mutants, he gains 2 instantly. So I'm triggering Dexterity at the beginning. That's my buff. All right. Then I cancel the buff, and there you guys can see the miss passive. Now it's on cooldown for 20 seconds. So I'm going to knock him down, and I don't have to worry about it until that timer comes back. I just want to get in my big damage here with the SB2. Alright, and here you guys are going to see I think I messed this up a little bit. So I used my Dex. Alright, there you go. I didn't mess it up. I was paying attention, but I knew that was coming. I think in one of these fights I do mess it up. Oh, there it was. I tried heavying him because of the protection, and I still had the miss passive up. So, okay. Either way, we're totally fine. There we go. Fight over. And now we've got a fully ramped Apocalypse. And we wanted to make sure that I had a fully ranked Apocalypse for that rank 4 Mangog. Kind of a scary fight, and he is a global defender as well. Not that he needs any help being a defender. He's a pretty annoying defender, but... Alright, so this Jabari Panther... so Cleanse does bypass Apocalypse's Purify ability accuracy reduction. So to land clean parries without Cleanse eating them, you do need guidance, but here I have guidance, so we're all good. And her health pool is like very, very small. So, I mean, she just gets completely wrecked from my special attacks. This node does now have the debuff immunity after you knock them down, but it doesn't matter. I'm up to an SP3, I've got 4 genetic code, and this is just going to squash her. Alright, and then this was the fight that I was most worried about going into this war. I was, admittedly worried about the Quake fights as well. I had 4 Quake fights assigned this war, and given how last war went, I was just a little bit nervous. We had a backup plan. Lizer was going to Quake the 2 mini-bosses that I had assigned for Quake if I, wasn't feeling good with her, but you guys will see that I actually play Quake really well, and so I'm just guessing that it was just first war jitters last time. But alright, so I triggered the global here. Now the global is off. I have my disorient immunity, and the stun reflect is on cooldown, which is great. Now I only want to throw 5-hit combos. I really don't want to throw 5-hit combos there, but I threw a 5-hit combo just so that I could get over 2 bars of power and throw that. I do want to push him to his SP2 because that doesn't give him additional hatred. When he throws his SP1, he does gain 2 additional hatred. And then anytime either of us finish a 5-hit combo, he gains 1 additional hatred. Once he gets to 10 hatred, his special attacks activate. I don't know what it's called. I think it's Berserk, but I could be wrong. And he becomes unblockable and unstoppable. Yeah, so anyway. Alright, so we are just going to try to bait this SP2 out. There we go. And you guys can see that I'm definitely taking some block damage, but it's not really a huge deal. Now, that's pretty funny. I dexed, triggering the global, through my SP1. He dashed in, and the second part of the SP1 clipped him, and it counted as intercept. So I don't know if that's intended, but I'll take it. A little mistake on my part. Just getting familiar with this global. Alright, so there, like a genius for the second war in a row, I replace a 6-hour 15% attack boost with a 30-minute 15% attack boost for no reason. I'll tell you what happened. I know that I have these videos kind of edited so you don't really see the gaps, but after that Mangog, I was offline for, I don't know how long, 4 or 5 hours or something. And I came back and just instinctively I'm like, all right, boom, attack boost, because it's the boost at the top. And again, that's the second war in a row, so I don't know what my deal is, but all right, so here we don't have to worry about spite. We start with all 3 of our debuffs. Now, I am not a read expert. If you want a read expert, you should check out DLL's channel, Daddy Longlegs. He's in SSX1. And here you guys can see that I'm so concerned with getting up to my SP2 that I'm just going to end up letting those debuffs fall off. And then I take a little 2-piece there. But when you do apply the pre-fights in the pre-fight screen with read, when you throw the SP2, you'll activate them. So even if they fall off, they still activate on your SP2. Instead of having 2 stacks of each now, I only have the 1 stack because I'm an idiot. But that's okay. Now we're going to throw it again. We're just going to stack it up again. And then his 3 debuffs max at 3 stacks apiece. So, yeah, don't have to worry about the power knockdown garbage on this node or anything like that. Like, this is just one of the hardest counters in the game. There I tried to corner heavy recycle and didn't have the spacing. That was probably too risky to do anyway. In war, a lot of defenders run standard ground, and so, it's a little bit riskier to do the the heavy chain in the corner. But okay, we got through it. That's about as safe a matchup as you can get for that fight. And all right, so here I'm changing my masteries because I have 4 of my next 5 fights are with Quake, including 2 mini bosses. I'm just doing my standard Quake build, which is 9 out of 9 greater strength for the maximum attack, and then I'm running half suicides with the bleed only. So, all right, so here I can't remember, because I have the bleed suicide, I can't remember if I used a combat regen or an invulnerability boost. Again, I know that I was fairly nervous about the Quake fights, strictly because of how poorly I played that America Chavez fight last war. And, the Sasquatch fight as well was not as smooth as I'd like, but one of those, part of the issue there was just an input drop. So, but I did some duels, earlier, before I started this clear here, and I was having no issues with Quake. So we do go with the invulnerability boost just for this first set, just to make sure that everything is going well. And this node does have aspect of evolution, so it could get out of hand if somehow I let her get to an SP1. But you guys can see that I'm able to get through this fight without any issue. And then you guys have seen me take Cersei many times at this point with Quake. She, in my opinion, is one of the friendlier defenders for Quake's play. Just, pretty easy to recognize the animations, and just always feels pretty smooth to Quake her. Alright, so she's down, and then the next fight is a rank 4 Kitty Pryde on Mini Island here. I'm 98% sure it's a rank 4. I just can't remember, and I know that she wasn't in his profile because I checked, but yeah, it's a rank 4. So, alright, and then I am throwing on the mutant boost because, Quake obviously doesn't need the boost, and I am going to go with the combat regen boost here for this fight, just to kind of keep her topped off so I can minimize my item use. And if I don't get touched, there you guys can see I started with about 90% health, and despite the bleeds, we're able to get up to 95. So as long as I don't get touched, we're good. And I'm not going to get touched. I didn't get touched with Quake all war. So it felt good to kind of get back into form. And, I was starting to question myself after those 2 fights last war, like, damn, am I losing it with Quake? You know how it goes. You just start to second guess yourself. So, but all is good there. And then this next fight, congratulations, it's regular speed here. So this is a Mojo. You guys have seen me take this fight before, but Mojo on Conflictor, and honestly, any defender on Conflictor, unless it's like one of the hard counters to Apocalypse, or an ability accuracy immune or elevated champ like Longshot, who's got like plus 300% ability accuracy, or Mysterio or something like that. Apocalypse is just going to completely ruin him. So I do throw on the Reed pre-fights, my own Reed pre-fights, just because, I've done this fight without him. But, just because I've got them, and they're going to get wasted if I don't use them anyway, so might as well. It'll help a little bit. The worst case scenario is you get super unlucky with his prompts, and he's super passive, and you have to, bait out his specials triggering Dex, and then when your Dex expires, you degen a little bit. So the Reed debuffs definitely help a little bit, just to kind of minimize the number of special attacks that he'll get. There you guys can see I don't know if I'd consider it lucky per se, but it's definitely the AI that you want when he's willing to just throw his SP1, especially when you can easily outrange it. So here we've got the dash backwards prompt, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw my special attack. I don't want to dash backwards, and it ends up killing him. So again, very, very easy fight there for Apocalypse. Alright, and then the last fight of the war for me is yet again sped up to warp speed here, and that is this Hood mini-boss. I just needed that little taxi job there, TJ helping me out, and there's that visual bug where I had to back out before I could go in, even though I don't think he was in the fight. So, But anyway, yeah, good clean war, 10 fights, so a very busy war for me. And I'm just happy that I was able to get through it cleanly, and it felt good. It felt like a good, solid rebound. I've had wars where, I die, I'm devastated, and then the following war is like maybe I get through all the fights without dying, but I kind of struggle, or I get, whooped a little bit, and then just that kind of lack of confidence lingers really until you're able to get back into a rhythm, and I guess kind of convince yourself that that one bad war was just a fluke. So I do feel like War 1 was just a fluke. But anyway, so we won this war. I didn't say in the last war video, but we lost the first war of the season. We actually lost it 6-6 on time by 50 seconds. Legacy's war video kind of goes over that. So we are now 1-1 on the season, heading into War 3. So that is it, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and a comment. And subscribe if you want to see more war videos. Take care.